Hello students, welcome to Sunya IAS and welcome to your mains discussion on article Green Energy Corridor. So when we talk about an environment, when we talk about economics, in both your GS papers, this question can be asked. ठीक है, फाइनेंस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से भी, क्योंकि क्लाइमेट फाइनेंसिंग इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स गोइंग ऑन. Plus your in from the environment perspective, for the carbon footprints that are focused towards sustainable environment, then your clean energy, green energy, renewable energy, all these are very important topic, right? So therefore our today's topic is green energy corridor, one of the very important topic, and in various newspapers you will find this topic. So before I begin with this topic, I want you all to go through first few things. Okay, let's go to our traditional sources, that is your fossil fuels. Okay, that is our one of the traditional source. Example of fossil fuels, you can say coal, oil, crude oil that we are using since like many years regarding your energy generation. Okay, so we'll try to take our basic example, that is coal with respect to fossil fuels. ठीक है, overall fossil fuel, the traditional source emits 75% of greenhouse gases. ठीक है, 75% of greenhouse gases. ठीक है, plus 90% of carbon dioxide emission is from fossil fuels, where solid biomass, oil, coal, everything is included. ठीक है, but 80% demand for the energy consumption is met through fossil fuels. ठीक है, for energy consumption is met through fossil fuels. ओके, लाइक इसके अंदर आपका ऑयल भी इंक्लूड कर रहे हैं हम, सॉलिड बायोमास भी इंक्लूड कर रहे हैं, कोल भी इंक्लूड कर रहे हैं. एंड व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट पर्टिकुलरली कोल, सो दिस इज लाइक 44% ऑफ कोल इज द प्राइमरी सोर्स फॉर एनर्जी जनरेशन. 44%, it's actually a huge dependency on coal. ठीक है, and this is the reason when we had the issue of coal shortage, it was actually an eye opener for our country that we need to switch to some alternative to these fossil fuels, else our country can be at the risk of coal shortage frequently also, because there is a certain limit of the utilization of coal, right? So therefore, and one last fact you all need to be aware of, that coal is the third, not coal, our country is the third largest energy consumption country in the world. Please pardon my handwriting, but I want you to be clear with these facts to understand that why these clean energy, green energy transitions are very important. Okay, so after all this, okay, after looking and analyzing and all this, we have come up with a concept of renewable energy. So of course we are supporting our environment, we are supporting a sustainable life, but for that we need an energy which is renewable, which is clean, which is sustainable. That means that the energy which is produced using renewable sources, right? Using renewable sources. I am hoping you all are having your pen and papers, and along with that you are writing down all these, because they will be very beneficial for you all in your like mains answer with respect to coal, also with respect to your renewable energy, also with respect to green energy transition, or as the today's topic is green energy corridor, because with respect to coal the UPSC have already asked the question. Okay, so the energy that is produced through renewable sources like solar, wind, hydro, and for the matter of fact, green hydrogen. Are you all aware that green hydrogen, which is produced through the process of electrolysis, the hydrogen which is left after the separation is called as green hydrogen. Okay? So all these are your example of renewable sources or clean energy examples which can play a good role and an alternative to your fossil fuels. Clear? Am I clear with all these facts? But now the question will be like, ma'am, why if all the countries are so much focusing on all these? Why all the countries are focusing on all this? So before we begin with our green energy corridor, one more topic we will discuss, that is your पंच अमृत टारगेट्स. अब पंच अमृत टारगेट्स आपके G20 प्रेसिडेंसी में डिस्कस हुए हैं, आपके COP26 में डिस्कस हुए हैं, योर SDG 7 टॉक्स अबाउट क्लीन एनर्जी. ठीक है. सो नॉट ओनली एट नेशनल लेवल वी आर डूइंग दिस इज अ ग्लोबल लेवल टारगेट टू कवर योर क्लीन एनर्जी, ग्रीन एनर्जी. ओके, सो कंफ्यूज मत होना, ग्रीन एनर्जी अलग है, क्लीन एनर्जी अलग है, या रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी अलग है. ऑल मीन्स द सेम थिंग. अ वेरी माइन्यूट डिफरेंस, लाइक आपका हाइड्रो एनर्जी है. So it is said that there is a lot of usage of water. So whether to consider it a green energy or not, that is a debate. But clean energy it is for sure. ठीक है. सो इसलिए ऐसा थोड़ा डिबेट चलता है. बट आपका मेजरली सोलर, विंड, ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन, ऑल दीज आर योर ग्रीन एनर्जी sources. ठीक है. So coming back to our Panchamrit target mentioned by PM in Mann Ki Baat, mentioned by PM in your in finance ministries, union budget, mentioned by PM in the G20 presidency. So what are Panchamrit targets? You need to write it down. You have to, if the question comes in means, you have to write down these 5 points. The very first point over here is that net zero target by 2070. You all must be aware. Next, to decrease the energy, capacity or our dependency on fossil fuels, and instead need to be 50% of renewable energy as a primary source by 2030. By 2030. Plus we need to achieve renewable energy capacity of 500 gigawatt by 2030. 3 targets done. पंच अमृत है, 5 अमृत. ठीक है. So one is net zero. Second is that renewable energy should be 50% of the renewable energy should be used for energy consumption. Third, renewable energy to be 500 gigawatt target by 2030 should be used. Fourth, the carbon intensity needs to be decreased below 45% by 2030. So only your first target, that is net zero emission target, needs to be completed by 2070. Rest all will be, our target is at 2030. Clear? So your carbon intensity to be below your 45% by 2030. Your renewable energy, 50% of renewable energy as should be the source by 2030. Your 500 gigawatt of by 2030 should be the renewable energy production. ठीक है. And the last, to decrease carbon dioxide emission by 1 billion tons by 2030. Again 2030 the target. ये पंच अमृत These Panch Amrits you need to remember forever now. जब तक means दे रहे हो, hopefully last time you must be giving your means this year and then you'll be clearing your exam. So these should be your like on the tips. ठीक है? Even possible question can be asked out of this portion also. Okay. So to follow these things plus to follow your COP26 target of climate like climate financing, climatology के लिए हमें क्या steps लेने चाहिए, sustainable lifestyle we need to follow. Then plus your SDG 7, which of course we are moving towards achieving it, that is your clean energy, right? So working towards all this, keeping all this in mind, we have come up with green energy corridor. But from some point it must have begun, right? So from where did it begin? I'm sorry. So from where did it begin? So it began in 2012. The story begins in 2012 with PGCIL. Now what is PGCIL? Power Grid Corporation of India Private Limited. Okay? So they came up with a study which said that the transmission and evacuation of energy is very less in the potential vicinities and its around the vicinities and the sites that is there that has the potential for renewable energy, it is very less. Okay? So they said that we should start working on this and create a green energy corridor. So in 2012 they submitted a report. Okay? And in 2015 the process began. In 2015 it was approved by the ministry and the process began. Okay? Now are you clear that how from our first motive that was to reconsider as an alternative for the fossil fuel, that is your green energy sources, and this from the fossil fuels to the green energy sources, this is called as green energy transition. And how can we take this green energy transition? So even during our G20 presidency, our country said that we need to move towards energy transition and sustainable financing. लिख सकते हो आप लोगों को अगर कोट करना है इस चीज को, you can quote it that we need to move towards energy transition and sustainable फाइनेंसिंग. अगर G20 का क्वेश्चन आता है उसमें भी ये चीज लिख सकते हो, है ना? ठीक है. So how we can move from energy transition, that I have just shown you, from fossil fuel to clean energy. And for that we need infrastructure, we need substations, we need power grid, right? And for that we need sustainable financing. So what is sustainable financing? That the money that we are investing in our sustainable projects, in our renewable energy source, is one of the example for sustainable financing. Clear? Which would be helpful for our environment. So therefore the objective of green energy corridor is what? Wait for a second. Let's come back to our story. So in 2015 the process began for this green energy corridor. Okay? Now this process, according to this process, we have to focus on the major states which has the potential for renewable energy. Over here we are considering more solar and wind energy. Okay? So the states which has the potential for solar and wind energy generation, we are targeting those states. Now the objective of this green energy corridor is that to sync, you all have to write down all these things, to sync the energy producing source, that is renewable energy, with conventional power grids. ठीक है, to sync the energy producing source, that is right now we are talking about renewable energy, with conventional power grid source, so that these transmissions can be in the following ways. ठीक है, एक है आपका renewable energy management center, REMC. ठीक है, renewable energy management center, which will cover your energy storage or reactive capacity. ठीक है, majorly energy storage but reactive capacity also it will be covering. ठीक है, second is your interstate transmission. Interstate transmission. And third is your intrastate transmission. So look, from state to state you cannot only have your transmission and evacuation electricity lines. For that you need to first cover within the states, right? That is your interstate. Then you can go for intrastate, sorry. ठीक है, so आपका interstate से intrastate पे आप जा सकते हो. ठीक है, so now from here to come here, now we'll try to understand the interstate transmission system first and then we'll go to intrastate. आपको कॉन्सेप्ट समझ आ गया ग्रीन एनर्जी कॉरिडोर का क्या है? तो टू बी मोर कंफर्टेबल, ग्रीन एनर्जी कॉरिडोर का लेमन लैंग्वेज में कॉन्सेप्ट है कि हम इलेक्ट्रिसिटी ट्रांसमिट कर रहे हैं, वी आर ट्रांसमिटिंग द इलेक्ट्रिसिटी यूजिंग व्हाट? रिन्यूएबल सोर्सेस. कहां कहां पर? फ्रॉम द पोटेंशियल साइट्स जहां पर ज्यादा इलेक्ट्रिसिटी प्रोड्यूस हो सकती है, टू वेयर नॉन पोटेंशियल साइट्स जहां पे कम है. ठीक है, जैसे अभी एक एग्जांपल देती हूं, आप एग्जांपल से समझ जाओगे. वी आर जस्ट यूजिंग दिस मैप. ठीक है, ये ट्रांसमिशन लाइन का मैप है आपका. 32,000 किलोमीटर का हमारा टारगेट है ओवरऑल पूरे प्रोजेक्ट का, जब तक भी चलेगा 2030 तक. ठीक है, अभी का क्या है? मेजर स्टेट्स, योर मेजर स्टेट्स, हिमाचल प्रदेश, राजस्थान, लिख लो लिखना है तो, गुजरात, एमपी, आंध्रा, तमिलनाडु, कर्नाटक. सो आई एम गिविंग द एग्जांपल कि पावर ग्रिड कैसे काम करेगा. ठीक है, अब इंटरस्टेट में क्या होगा? इंटरस्टेट में आपका सपोज करो राजस्थान में ही 3 रीजनल सेंटर लग रहे हैं. ठीक है, 3 रीजनल सेंटर मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम इज सेट अप इन राजस्थान इटसेल्फ. So this is the example of interstate. Like the recent news was there that in Ladakh, so recently the cabinet committee of economic affairs, जिसका chairman कौन होता है? Who is the chairman of cabinet committee of economic affairs? Prime Minister, right? So he has approved for the project in Ladakh for this, under this interstate transmission system, and in fact a storage system is also setting up there of 12 GWH. ठीक है, gigawatt h. So वहां पे 12 GWH की बैटरी स्टोरेज सिस्टम भी लग रहा है इन टू बी प्रिसाइज पोंग लद्दाख. ठीक है, so therefore these are your examples of interstate. ठीक है, but now if these are the potential sites, then over here your UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, they are the non-potential sites. So something transmission lines should be in such a manner that they will be transferring from the potential sites to the non-potential sites. And that's how there will be integration of the grid system through the renewable sources. Am I clear with the green energy corridor concept? ठीक है, so right now to be more precise when we are talking about this, so right now in the interstate I have told you what is the news. Now the second news revolves around your intrastate transmission system, which are in 2 phases, phase 1 and your phase 2. अब न्यूज 2 क्या थी न्यूज़पेपर्स में? That phase 1 had 8 states, which I just mentioned in the example. So out of those 8 states, only Gujarat, Rajasthan, MP, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu have met with the deadlines. So this period, I'll show you. So आपके इंट्रा स्टेट के दो phases हैं, phase 1 and phase 2. And in this period, this initiation happened in 2015. As I told you, the process began and the deadline was till 2022. But only 4 states have met with the deadlines. And the rest of the 4 states had demanded for the extension till December 23. ठीक है, जबकि आपका फेज 2 का इनिशिएशन ही 2022 से था स्टार्ट, दैट दे विल मीट द डेडलाइंस एंड देन वील बिगिन विद द इनिशिएशन इन 2022 एंड इट विल बी फॉर 5 years, लाइक टिल आई गेस 4 years या 5 years तक है. ठीक है, तो वो आपका 2026-27 तक चलेगा. ठीक है, ये 2021-22 से 25-26 तक चलेगा. ठीक है. Okay, so this was their original plan. But now out of those 8 states, the 4 states have demanded the extension. But of course, since our deadlines, our beginning lines were there for the initiation line was there for the phase 2. So the phase 2 began. Now why we are focusing on these things? Because students, the states are different. ठीक है, इसके अंदर आपकी जो participation states हैं, those are your 8 states which I have mentioned. Over here, the participation states, you have 7 states. ओके, जिसमें अब आपका केरला एंड यूपी. तो यहाँ पे आपको मैं एक बात बताती हूँ, इंटरेस्टिंग फैक्ट. पार्टिसिपेशन स्टेट्स में वो 8 स्टेट्स हैं विच आई हैव गिवन यू द एग्जांपल. ठीक है, जिसमें आपका वेस्ट की साइड गुजरात, राजस्थान, एमपी या हिमाचल प्रदेश है, या कर्नाटक है, आंध्र प्रदेश एंड तमिलनाडु इन साउथ. ठीक है, तो अब आप देखो, इन दिस वन these states had to distribute the surplus energy in Jharkhand, Bihar and UP. But now in phase 2, the new 2 states that are included apart from Gujarat, MP, Tamil Nadu and all is one is your Kerala and the other is your UP. So the one which earlier we were giving the surplus distribution to the state, now that state is the participating state in producing and evacuation and transmission for the electricity. ठीक है, मैं आपको थोड़ा डिफरेंशिएट करके बता रही हूँ, कंपैरिजन में बता रही हूँ. राइट नाउ आई विल डिक्टेट यू ऑल्सो कि इसके अंडर आपको क्या क्या लिखना है. अभी आई एम जस्ट एक्सप्लेनिंग यू. ठीक है, then properly I will dictate you that which are the rest 5 states and everything, so don't worry. ठीक है, अभी बस मैं आपको comparison दिखा रही हूँ कि कैसे 2 phases में काम चल रहा है, because you might be reading in your PIPs, you might be reading in your newspaper, but end of the day you will be little confused, right? So इसके लिए चलो अब funding की बात करते हैं. 40% of the funding is by the central government, 20% of the funding 20% of the funding is by the state government and rest of the funding is by the German Development Bank. ठीक है, किससे? German Development Bank से. Whereas यहाँ पे जो आपकी funding है वो सिर्फ 33% central की है. ओके, सिर्फ central की है. Here your in infrastructure it is 9,700 किलोमीटर. वो अभी मैं डिक्टेट करूंगी. ठीक है, उसकी टेंशन मत लो. का पूरा आपका कॉरिडोर है and this corridor is more than 10,000 of kilometer. ठीक है, वो आपके लिए इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं, अभी आपके लिए ये चीजें इंपॉर्टेंट है. ठीक है, जैसे प्रोजेक्ट ऑब्जेक्टिव है इसका that it will be generating 24 gigawatt of energy. Okay, so this is the basically the overall major difference between the 2 phases of intrastate. Now why do we need energy, the green energy corridor? What are the challenges of the green energy corridor? What is the way forward? We'll try to understand that also. But first, please, I'm dictating you write down. So under this, you're interested in initiation. In initiation, you can write down this deadline phase from 2015 to 22. Then the objective, you can write down the produces of 24 gigawatt. Then participation state, shall I repeat? Because it is already the rich energy participation state. Still you want to write down, you can write down Gujarat, Rajasthan, MP from the west and central side. From the north you have Himachal Pradesh. Try to always write like this, कि west and central the states, north states, then the south states, है ना? And in south you have Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. Then surplus energy distribution will be to whom? To Jharkhand, Bihar and Chhattisgarh. Jharkhand, Bihar and UP. Then your funding, I have just explained you, 40% of central, 40% of KfW, that is the German Development Bank, and 20% of the state. Then आपका इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर भी बताते हैं. अब आप फेज 2 का भी लिख लो. इनिशिएशन वही 2021 to 25-26. Then your then वही Jan 22 से स्टार्ट हो जाएगा, ठीक है. देन आपका 27.5 GVA आपका प्रोजेक्ट टारगेट है या ऑब्जेक्टिव है. स्टेट्स लिख लो, गुजरात, हिमाचल प्रदेश, कर्नाटका, द केरला एंड द यूपी विच आई हैव मेंशन्ड ओवर हियर, द न्यू वंस, तमिलनाडु, ठीक है, एंड तमिलनाडु. 7 स्टेट्स हो गई टोटल, है ना. वहां पे 8 स्टेट्स है, यहाँ पे 7 है. And then funding I have explained you, 33% of the project cost will be covered under the central finance assistance. And infrastructure ka wahi I have told you, more than 10,000 kilometers, that is approximately 10,500 kilometers. Clear ho gaya ye sab? Am I clear? Now let's talk about the few challenges. Now among your few challenges that among your significance, that what is the significance. So I have divided like in energy independence, economic development, social and environmental, ठीक है. So first we'll try to understand energy independence, क्योंकि हम इतना import कर रहे हैं fossil fuels, हम इतने coal के लिए, if there is coal shortage then our country is suffering. So why to be dependent so much on coal if we can be self-sufficient from the renewable sources also as an alternative? So your first is energy security. So this is your energy security, not being dependent. Clean energy transition. Clean energy transition में आपका वही चीज जो हम अभी तक बात कर रहे थे, using renewable sources so that it can decrease the carbon imprint and working towards clean, reducing the pollutant, जो भी environmental impacts है उसका safer option जो है, that is your clean energy transition. Next is your strategic preparedness. Strategic preparedness जैसे आपकी grid, ठीक है, what kind of infrastructure financing will be done, all this will be your independent scenario for your country. And energy resilience, that we have so many options in renewable sources, solar, wind and others. So that means that if there is coal shortage, it would not impact us to that level because we have many options. We have mix of sources and option for electricity generation or energy production. Okay? So this is your energy independence. Next is your economic development. Of course, if you are working towards, a sustainable option, if you are working towards a developmental option, that means that there would be the economic development. Economic word आ रहा है तो किन terms में होगा? Growth में, generation of employment में, right? और not only in these wise but socio-economic upliftment की भी बात होगी, है ना? So आपका growth है, employment है, rural upliftment है, reduce energy imports है, grid resilience है, global standing है. Let's elaborate it. Economic growth, of course, when there is a development, when now we have more energy sources that will do the betterment for the people. Now better, with energy generation, better options will be open for the people and the country will increase in terms of growth. Plus it will attract investment also, right? It will attract investment, or so and so कि FDI has started being included in such projects. German Development Bank has already invested in our first phase. Okay? These are examples of what? This is showing that we are globally standing also, right? That the foreign countries are also, foreign companies and other development banks are also investing. It is showing our global standard that yes, to meet our global goals of SDGs, of being a president, being holding a presidency seat in G20, this is giving an impact that okay, we are working towards the global goals. along with our national goals. So therefore there would be attraction of investment, and for that there would be a lot of projects, right? Infrastructural projects that will create what? That will create your direct and indirect jobs. मतलब सोलर एनर्जी की अगर हम बात करें ना, लाइक पीवी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग है, पीवी सोलर मॉड्यूल्स हैं, only and only in solar energy sector only there are 5 to 10 direct and indirect jobs, 5 to 10 lakhs direct and indirect jobs only and only in solar energy. So over here we are talking about whole as in renewable energy. So many of directs and indirect jobs, in lakhs of directs and indirect jobs will be given, right? So there would be the job opportunity. Now when you look at these states which I have mentioned, so on the potential sites, when there be this infrastructure development, so that would imply that they would lead to the job opportunities for the rural areas also, right? Because these job opportunities will be both skilled and unskilled, right? The employment generation will be in both form, skilled and unskilled. So therefore even for their rural area people that would be a plus point, correct? And that would lead to what? Socio-economic development. It might have happened few communities have been left behind with the job opportunities or economic opportunities. So this would be a beneficial for rural development, for community development and etc. Okay? Now reduce the energy imports. Of course, when we are self-reliant for the production of energy, then why we would be more be relying towards the import. So it will be a plus point for our balance of payments also, right? Because 90% of coal is imported from like within our country. Okay. So grid resilience, because solar grid formation and all these would be a plus point in terms of economics also. Then global standing I have explained you कि कैसे global goals को meet करने के लिए foreign investors here, तो we are having one position globally now that yes, India is a emerging market and there we can invest. But ये याद रखना, approximately 1 trillion of funding is required for these projects. ठीक है, approximately minimum to minimum 1 trillion of funding is required. Okay. चलो अब आते हैं हम, अच्छा पहले हम सोशल की बात कर लेते हैं, फिर हम एनवायरमेंट पे भी आते हैं. सोशल में इंप्रूव एनर्जी पॉवर्टी, बिकॉज व्हेन, जैसे आपका इसमें ग्रिड रेजिलियंस की हमने बात की, व्हेन देयर वुड बी ग्रिड फॉर्मेशन, तो दैट वुड लीड टू व्हाट? दैट वुड लीड टू स्टेबल एंड अफोर्डेबल एनर्जी और इलेक्ट्रिसिटी. दैट वुड लीड टू स्टेबल एंड affordable electricity, which would be again helping the rural upliftment also, or over here it will improve the energy poverty, because till 21-22 77 million households, 77 million households still using kerosene for lighting. So that also implied that 44% of households in rural area had the 44% houses in rural area had either the lack of electricity or minimal electricity. Okay. Then second issue, so of course ये एक आपका social development की तरफ भी, social upliftment की तरफ भी काम कर रहा है. Everything will be interconnected. I have already explained you these things right now, but how to structure your answer now from past 5 minutes until our further lecture, you will be understanding only this, that okay, we have consumed all the knowledge, but now how to portray it in our answer sheets. Okay. So reduce the risk of women health. Women health issue क्या होते हैं? You know, till now also in lot of rural places the women are using, अंगीठी कहते हैं उसको हिंदी में, that cow dung, firewood, all these things for the energy production. And what results in that? What results in that? It results in a lot of women health issue. Not only like you know, like cardiovascular, respiratory, ठीक है. It decreases infant mortality also. Sorry. हाँ, and increases infertility. Plus, it does what? Plus, it does what? Psychologically also, women suffers a lot. Hormonal imbalance takes place and psychologically also it suffers a lot. Okay? So therefore, this will be solution to all of these solution also. So that is the importance of this clean energy or green energy transition. Now your environmental impact, very important. ठीक है, क्योंकि अब हम ये सब कर किस ले रहे हैं? To decrease the carbon footprints, to decrease the pollutant. So reduce the carbon footprints, reduce the climate impact. Your goal of your COP26 to reduce the climate impact, to reduce the emission of greenhouse gases. So this is one of the best solution for that, right? And improve the air quality, because when there would be lesser pollutants, then of course it will improve the air quality index. That would be beneficial for the citizen and their health and well-being also, correct? बिकॉज अभी अगर हम दिल्ली में सुबह या मेट्रोपॉलिटन सिटीज और जो इतनी भी है उनमें सुबह अभी हम वॉक पर जाएं, देन इंस्टेड ऑफ वेल बीइंग विल बी ओनली सफरिंग फ्रॉम कॉफ्स एंड यू नो ऑल द पोल्यूटेंट विल बी इनसाइड अस, राइट? सो वी नीड सम proper solutions for all of these things. Okay, I'm not saying it is the major reason for it right now in this scenario what is happening right now, but one of the causes, of course, right? Next is your biodiversity conservation. बायोडाइवर्सिटी कंजर्वेशन को समझने के लिए मैं एक एग्जांपल देती हूँ आपको सिंपल सा. If you have been reading your newspaper from past 2 years, you must have heard about Dihing National Park in Assam. ठीक है, अब उसकी स्टोरी क्या थी? That the coal mining has been banned over there. ठीक है. So what I'm trying to conclude over here, that sometimes because of coal mining or some other energy for energy production, you know, the power statues or the pillars have been established. All these sometimes lead to habitat destruction also. For the transmission power lines are there require. तो ये सब क्या करता है? कोल, अगर कोल माइनिंग सब वन ऑफ द मेजर इशू, बिकॉज कोल इज फाउंड, फॉसिल फ्यूल इज फाउंड वेयर देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ ग्रीनरी, लॉट ऑफ फॉरेस्ट्री इज देयर, कॉमन सेंस है ना? फॉसिल फ्यूल कहाँ से प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है? बट दोज आर एरियाज आर हैबिटेट ऑल्सो, आर बायोडाइवर्सिटी कंजर्वेशन, बायोडाइवर्सिटी स्पॉट्स ऑल्सो, राइट? सो दे गेट डिस्ट्रक्टेड. So even that would be conserved. Okay, and last is your water resource protection. So of course the release by these coal industries, a lot of water is also used, and plus a lot of pollutants are released, right, which contaminates the water. So therefore water resource protection is one of the major cause. So अब हम एक एक करके challenges भी पढ़ लेते हैं, ठीक है? तो grid integration complexity, of course, when you're going for integrating, you know, different kind of grids, then how the process will be, what kind of, you know, investment of people, technology, research, everything will be one of the challenges in this, ठीक है? Next is your infrastructure फाइनेंसिंग. इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर फाइनेंसिंग में आपका क्या आता है? जैसे अब आपको सबस्टेशंस चाहिए होंगे, है ना? आपको एक ग्रिड इंटीग्रेशन मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम चाहिए होगा, ऑफिसेज वुड बी रिक्वायर्ड फॉर दैट, एंड तो for all these like kind of substation storage systems would be required. For all that, from where the finances will come, who all can invest, because I have told you that $1 trillion dollar is a huge amount for the investment for such projects. Okay, so now how these things will happen, that is a issue. अब अगर आपको जैसे हाई वोल्टेज ट्रांसमिशन लाइंस भी आपको चाहिए होंगी, राइट? वन ऑफ द वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, and the around which this corridor revolves around. Then you have your substations, then you have energy storage centers, ठीक है? But अब हाई वोल्टेज ट्रांसमिशन लाइंस आपको चाहिए, दैट इज द इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चरल यू नो फाइनेंसिंग चैलेंज. बट फॉर दैट you need to acquire a land also. So acquiring of Land also would become a challenge. So securing right of way, that is acquiring the land, convincing those local people that we need this land. What kind of exchange you are giving to those local peoples, that would matter. Okay, and okay, this is repeated. Weather dependent energy source. So now the most challengeable, that the renewable energy is on based of solar, wind. ठीक है, अब ये क्या हो गया आपकी वेदर रेजिलिएंट है ना, वेदर रेजिलिएंट है, दैट वेदर यू आर गेटिंग दो सन रेज enough for the solar, whether you see the sunshine or not. So that would be one of the major challenges. Next is your operational challenge. अब भाई मैनेजमेंट करनी है ना, मैनेजमेंट करनी है, वो तो शुरू से एक चैलेंज रहा है हमारी कंट्री में. ठीक है, you have come up with a project, but how you are implementing it, how you are managing it, because you need to maintain that integrated system, management system. So that will be one of the challenge. Regulatory hurdles. ये हम सब जानते हैं हमारे देश में we are working towards digital for one of the reason that the paperworks are very difficult. Bureaucratic paperworks are there, land paperworks are there, then environmental permit paperworks are there. So to this would be one of the challenge, and the solution is that there should be one clearance window kind of a thing, or some digitally online portal पे कुछ चीजें ऐसी होनी चाहिए, the easy way out, because it is very time consuming also, right? So this will be one of the challenge. Then energy loss. Energy loss in the long distance transmission lines. When there would be long distance transmission, some minimal energy loss should be our solution. That when there is this long distances, of course, under the transmission, a lot of energy will be wasted. So we need to come up with a solution to that. And somehow you will see all this would only end up becoming your way forwards only. Solution to all these only. है ना? That's how it should be. Now interstate coordination, पानी को लेकर लड़ाई, interstate borders को लेकर लड़ाई, land को लेकर लड़ाई, अब उसमें renewable energy source generation को लेकर भी लड़ाई हो सकती है. So now this interstate coordination, that if you're transmitting the line, how much should be the energy be consumed by you, how much by the another state, how much to be given to the other state. This coordination would definitely be a very political challenge also, right? ये तो मतलब हमारी कंट्री में constant चीज है ना? But coordination is very important to make this project successful. Till now, 4 states have shown that this project can be successful. So that means we have a ray of hope. Okay. So these are your challenges associated with GAC and your way forwards. ठीक है. So first is your advanced grid technology. Advanced grid technology, that means that अब ये जो आपका है ना, wait a second, grid integrity, interconnectivity, advanced grid technology and research and development, they all have the same aspect, that development of technology, knowledge, use of high tech skilled technicians, these are the way forward, right? Then government support in the form of finance incentives. ठीक है, जैसे we are central government is giving in this phase 2 of this project 33%. Then to attract the investment from nation as well as international, because one of the challenges that if you look at in our country only, a lot of big achievers, or I will say millennials, they somehow hesitate to invest in such projects, because according to them, this is a very long term investment. Suddenly तो invest करके profits नहीं आएंगे इसमें, है ना? So initially government कैसे चलेगी? Technological barrier एक है हमारी country में, though we are working towards that, है ना? So somehow they hesitate. But now the awareness needs not only for the social communities, but to these people also, that if you're investing, you will gain profits, because our future is a sustainable future. Okay. And the third one that you need to focus on, the third thing is private participation. To meet such huge amount for the projects is only possible through private participations, or you can say PPP model, which you can even inculcate in your innovative finance model. You can go for PPP models also. Okay. So now you're streamline the permitting. So why one window clearance है ना system होगा, so that it can save the time. You don't have to face those like issues like environmental. Yes, of course, you need to follow the procedure, but not the time consumed procedure. Okay. And then you have the community engagement. You need to convince the local communities. You need to face the protest against it, right? If you're going with something like this, you need to tell them that how environmental friendly it is, how you will try to include, like this is for the government, that if they try to include the local communities for the job opportunities, that it will be a social upliftment for you all. So whatever the significance we have told, we need to explain them also, explain them either one-to-one sessions, or create this public awareness that either to invest or to give the land, or through the usage of land, or to be participate in these projects. The public awareness needs to be given that how environmental friendly it is, how socially economically friendly it is. That needs to be explained through the public awareness. International collaboration, example is your German Development Bank. Such more collaborations with other millennials from international millennials should be part of it, that how it can be beneficial for international business entrepreneurs should be the participating one. So that kind of international collaboration with the countries. ठीक है, जैसे एक इंटरनेशनल सोलर अलायंस बनाया हमने, है ना, इट इज वन ऑफ द एग्जांपल फॉर इंटरनेशनल कोलैबोरेशन. सो सच थिंग्स शुड बी देयर. एंड इनोवेटिव फाइनेंस मॉडल मैंने आपको बता दिया. ठीक है. रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट. अच्छा, इंटरनेशनल कोलैबोरेशन में हम एक और बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज गेन कर सकते हैं, शेयरिंग ऑफ नॉलेज एंड टेक्नोलॉजी, है ना. दैट ओके फाइन, वी आर नॉट अवेयर अबाउट दिस फैक्ट विच माइट हेल्प इन रिड्यूसिंग द एनर्जी लॉस during the long distance transmission, but the other country knows the solution. Okay. So these such kind of sharing knowledge, research and development should be made. All this will play a very important role for your green energy corridor. So your way forward is also done. So with this, I'll end up my lecture, and I hope this lecture has been very fruitful to you and you have been clear with all the concepts. Thank you.